What is going on, guys? So it's another morning, another day, another project, basically. So we said a little while ago that we're going to do those above group angel eyes, and today's the day. Finally, I've got a whole day that I can use to do this. So the first thing is, I know I'm probably not more of like a step-by-step person in terms of the videos, so it's more just going to be the process of how I've done it instead of teaching everyone how to do it, because there's plenty of videos out there that would probably be very helpful in terms of like a step-by-step tutorial on how to do it. But for me, I'm just going to be virtually just pulling it all apart, doing it all myself. I'm not going to be filming any of the process. It's more just going to be like what it looks like now, what it looks like after, and how it's done during the process. So for now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take the bar off, because to access the headlights we need to remove them, and the bar, I think there's some bolts underneath there. I don't even know myself. I'm going to figure that out. To remove the bar, it's very I mean, it's easy, but it's a bit of a tedious process. So you've got 4 bolts up here, 4 bolts here. You've got 2 underneath each guard, which you have to go through the back underneath the guard lining, and then you've got some underneath the bar. So the ones underneath the bar, very easy to get. Ones on top are very easy to get. The ones in the guards are a pain in the ass. So typically I would recommend taking the wheel off, because then you get heaps more access into the guard lining. But I've only put like 1 bolt in there because I knew I was going to take the bar off anyway. So that's kind of why it looks like really incomplete, and I haven't actually put everything back on. So I'm going to do that first. I'm going to take the bar off first, take off the screws, and then I'll be able to get to the lights, which will be pretty easy. I think the lights have only like 1 connector, literally just 1 connector. I think. I'm pretty certain it's just 1 that ties into everything, and then we'll get to taking them out. So I've just got the bar off. Now when you're taking off an E92 bar, you just got to make sure that you disconnect the PDC system. So you'll have like 4 plugs in the bar. Then you've also got, no, that probably won't be in the bar. But for me, I took it off because I cut all my plastic out to fit the intercooler. So an update on the intercooler, it's going fantastic. It's holding up really well. So it's holding up about 19 PSI boost, and had no issues with it so far, so that's really great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to figure out how I take these out. I think there's a bolt on the side underneath this plastic, but I will just quickly figure that out, and then we can go from there. So we take these out first, and then we can start getting these prepped up to pull them apart. So I've just got the right side, the driver's side headlight out. It took a little bit of jiggling, but it's not too difficult to get out, which is good. So what I'm going to do is start taking it apart. So you have to take off the covers, the back cover here, and then I believe, I'm not too sure if we have to unbolt the little motor down there. But then after we've unbolted all of that, taken all the covers off, we have to heat it up with a heat gun or like a heat light, just so we can pull it apart basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to black out all the inside. Then we're going to have to cut, so we're going to have to buy Dremel to cut the existing housing, which is this one here. That housing there, we're gonna have to cut that into so that the new light, the new LED can fit into that. I'm just gonna go ahead and unbolt all first, and then I'm gonna get a heat light and start heating it up and prying it open. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of the easier headlights I've taken apart. So I used to do custom Pajero Gen 4 headlights, so I used to do quite a lot of those, and they were much harder to take apart. There's just such a large assembly. Whereas this one, it's prying apart really nicely. So what I've done is I've got a bit of heat on it. Normally this is for like drying paint or primer, but it works really well because it gets very hot as to melting the glue. So one side is pretty much pried open almost. Just trying to melt the other side and pry it open is very easy. I don't think there's any bolts because it's all that internal assembly is the bolts. But it's one of the easiest ones. So I'll do another video once I've got it apart. So I've just got the lens off. It didn't really take that much. Just one thing to be careful of is I didn't even know myself. In the corner, there's a bolt hiding behind like a rubber hose. So just pull the rubber hose off, and then you can unbolt it before you pry it, or otherwise you'll break it. So I actually didn't even know that, so I was trying to pry it open, but I was being really gentle with it because I know how fragile these pieces of plastic are. So I was being really gentle when I realized that it wasn't budging. So I checked behind and I found that bolt. So I unbolted it and it came off really easy. So if you're doing this for like a first time, I suggest using a heat gun and just going very evenly and very slowly, because if you go fast, you will break it, guaranteed. The headlights are very fragile. So just always take it easy, use a lot of heat, and make sure you don't use a screwdriver as well, so you don't break it. Use one of these plastic pry tools because it will save your life, and it also won't damage like if you use a screwdriver. So I've just come back from Bunnings. I've got all my pieces. Before I left, I disassembled everything. So this is just bolted on by one bolt, just so I can measure up where I need to cut, because you do need to cut these housings a little bit just so these can fit, because these are quite large compared to the stock Angel Eyes, which are like super thin, flimsy. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut the bottom out first, just so I can push it in a little bit, and then I can cut a bit more so they fit in. So I bought a little Dremel kit because I know that I struggle here with large grinders. That's all we have. So I bought the little Dremel kit. It's like a flexible thing, so you can cut it super easy. That should help me a lot in terms of getting it all neat. So I'm gonna cut it first, and then I'm gonna paint the housings black, just because they look sick when they're black. So I bought like a flat black paint, spray paint, so it looks really nice and just neat. So I'm gonna go and cut these now, and then I'll cut to that. So this is taking quite a little while to do, which is fine. I knew kind of was going to take quite a long time because the headlight is so complex and sort of, there's lots of different components. But I've got a lens in. That took a while to get in. Just going to fit in the other lens, and then we can start painting the trims in black, and then we can start gluing the Angel Eyes together. So just another update on the headlight. I've got most of it done. I've installed the eyebrow as well and painted the indicator chrome to black, matte black. So it's all going to be, technically it's going to be blacked out. What I've got left is to install the last Angel Eye onto this one. So I'm just going to unbolt this again. I just wanted to make sure it fit correctly before I put it in. So I think there's not going to be any cutting involved onto this, which is good, because I checked in my headlight that's still on the car. And if you have a look in here, there's still ample room in there. As long as it's placed nicely, then there should be plenty of room for that one to get in there. But the other ones are perfectly done, all spray painted, nice matte black. That's just left to do. So I'm going to take that off now and start epoxying it. So I bought this epoxy glue, not amazing. Tomorrow, because I'm only doing one headlight tomorrow, I'm going to buy JB Weld that I should have bought in the first place. But this stuff is fine. It still dries pretty quick. Just it's a little bit slower and not as hard as JB Weld. But it still glues really well. It's solid. I also had to epoxy this lens in. You can probably see a tiny bit of the epoxy on the side and behind it, which is fine, but a bit annoying because the old lens, where is it? The old lens is like a clip-on. You can see it's like a clip-on, whereas the new one's not. It's just a flat lens, so it has to be epoxied in. So that's all done. Just one more light to do, and that's the first headlight out of the way, and then tomorrow we can finish the rest. As long as I got the first one done, I just wanted to make sure I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to do that now. Just finished one light. Took me all day to do one light. I mean, I started pretty late in the day. It was late afternoon. Still had to go to the shops to get some epoxy glue and spray paints and Dremel kits, so that took a little bit of time as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up here. I'm not going to pack anything up because I'm going to be doing this tomorrow anyways. One of them is done, so I might see. I've got some time. I'm not in a rush to do anything, so I might pop it in and see what it looks like with it in the car. But this is what it looks like. It's come out really nice, fantastic. The eyebrow really really sets it off as well, just to cover up any of the wiring. And the honeycomb just looks insane. So I'm pretty happy with the way it's come out. Just polished it off a little bit so it's pretty shiny. I've blacked out that chrome inside behind there. So it's all very, very dark. And that compared to that, massive difference. Massive difference. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty much the end of this episode here. I'm going to just clean up this and maybe pop it in, and then we'll get to the rest tomorrow. So I've just put them in temporarily. They're not really properly fitted or bolted in yet, but hey yo, I am in love. This is just insane. There's so many features. I've connected my phone to it. You can hook up your phone and control it wirelessly, but obviously while I'm driving on the road, they'll just be static white because I will get defected if that's how I drove. But yeah, if you look at the difference compared, like, there's just no comparing. Like, this is amazing. Absolutely insane. It just looks fantastic. So I'm just gonna not pack up, but I'm just gonna finish up here, turn off the car, just clean up a little bit, and head home. And tomorrow we'll get started on the other side, which shouldn't take me as long because I know what I'm doing. Yeah, hope you enjoyed.